10 Cool Ways to Hack Your Brain. The human cerebrum is the main motivation behind our absolute strength on Earth. We will be unable to fly, have the best paws, or run especially quick, yet because of the capacity of our cerebrums, we have figured out how to climb our way to the highest point of the developmental chain of command. Regardless of the entirety of that, however, the mind actually has its restrictions. There are numerous things we can't do in view of those limits, and such failures regularly appear at the most noticeably awful occasions. Fortunately for all of us, are reliably chipping away at concocting hacks to conquer our mind's cutoff points, as there is still a ton we don't comprehend about the main piece of the body. Here are 10 different ways you can hack your mind for your potential benefit, as indicated by science. 10 Be more attractive by believing you smell good. It comes as an amazement to nobody that smelling pleasant makes you more alluring to the other gender, as we intuitively partner smell with cleanliness. It's a more downplayed prompt of appeal than other, clear ones, similar to looks or character, yet it all things considered assumes a similarly significant part in determining the end result of a date. We're discussing how you smell, yet additionally how you think you smell. As indicated by an examination, simply accepting that you smell wonderful expands your odds of getting with the women. The examination was just finished with male subjects. Researchers gave scented splash to one portion of a gathering of proportionately appealing members and a conventional, unscented shower to the next half and took recordings. They at that point showed the recordings to a gathering of ladies, requesting that they rate the men on appeal. Shockingly, the ladies evaluated the men with the scented splash to be more alluring, regardless of whether they had no chance to get of realizing how the men smelled just from video clips. 1. It recommends that self-insight doesn't simply impact the level of your certainty yet additionally influences how others see you. 9. Use gestures to prepare for a test. Understudies utilize an assortment of methods to assist themselves with holding data before an impending test, from the conventional recording things to the more trendy yoga before a considering meeting. As us all know, however, the greater part of those procedures are all in or all out, as nobody has had the option to consummately sort out the most ideal approach to ensure memory maintenance. While we're not professing to have addressed pre-test planning, there's one deductively demonstrated strategy you can utilize that unquestionably works: utilizing motions while studying. 2. Studies have discovered that when you use motions to disclose the data to yourself, the cerebrum holds it undeniably more successfully than, say, talking it out resoundingly or in any event, recording it. Truth be told, in one investigation, specialists tracked down that lone talking while at the same time learning an idea had no impact on data maintenance by any means. 8. Use the sun to hallucinate. While we'd prefer to emphasize our position against mishandling drugs for amusement, we need to concede that fantasies are great. There are a couple of things as fun as making the cerebrum see things that aren't there, but since unlawful medications appear to be the best way to do it, numerous individuals never will encounter it. In case you're one of them and might want to know how it feels without being on some unacceptable side of the law, there's some uplifting news. As one physiologist from the 19th century discovered, all you need to daydream without drugs is the sun. Simply close your eyes and direct them to the sun. At that point, wave your hand to and fro across the face while keeping one eye covered. Quite soon, you'll begin seeing shapes, and keeping in mind that the specific figures shift as indicated by individual, you can expect fantasies like twistings, hexagons, or squares. 3. Another way you can legitimately fantasize is by misusing something many refer to as the Ganzfeld impact, wherein the mind fills in visual data of its own after extensive stretches of tactile hardship. Just put a piece of white paper over your eyes, rests under dazzling white light, and use commotion counterbalancing earphones to impede any stable for 20 minutes. At the point when you get up, you'd be blessed to receive some past visuals, as they apparently call them in the realm of unlawful medications. 7. Trick your brain into thinking a rubber arm is real. We've all known about the apparition appendage, wherein individuals who've had appendages excised can in any case feel the presence of their missing extremity, to the degree that they can feel torment and different sensations in it. While still incredible, it has been widely contemplated and discussed. What's astonishing, in any case, is that you can accomplish something comparable with your current appendages, also. In a trial, scientists requested that volunteers put both their arms on the table, with their correct hand inside a crate. They at that point put an elastic arm on the case and adjusted it to the member's correct shoulders, similarly situated as their genuine arms, with simply the tips of fingers obvious. At the point when the researchers stroked both the phony and genuine hands briefly, they were astonished to find that in the end, the volunteers began seeing the phony hand as the genuine one. 4. Researchers don't exactly see how it functions, however they're certain that it has something to do with how the mind offers need to obvious signals over whatever else while deciding the responsibility for parts. Presently you certainly can't utilize this one to, say, escape interesting circumstances, yet it makes for a freaky redirection in any case dull gatherings. 6. Stop yourself from choking by singing. How frequently has it happened that you're called to talk before a gathering, and before you can say anything, the words appear to stall out in your throat? It's not simply mental, either. For some individuals, that stifling is very genuine. What's more, perceiving how open talking is probably the greatest dread around, it happens to a bigger number of individuals than you'd might suspect. In the event that just there was an approach to counter it. Luckily for us, all of us has sorted out an approach to adequately end gagging in high-stress circumstances. You should simply sing a tune to yourself, as it occupies the mind and mitigates the sensation of frenzy you get in those moments. 5. In the event that singing is definitely not a socially worthy choice, such as during a gathering, you can likewise attempt different things like checking in reverse from any number or just centering different things. 5. Listen to classical music to improve learning. Music influences us all in various manners that we can't exactly articulate. Basically, however, it's a break from the hints of this present reality and can get us through some troublesome occasions. It's likewise identified with efficiency, as any individual who has at any point floated through a cutoff time with their headphones connected can advise you. In any case, since everybody's cerebrum is extraordinary, and music requests in an alternate method to everybody, we don't have a brought-together hypothesis on how it identifies with profitability. While it will be some time before we can impeccably sort that out, because of one examination, we are aware of one kind of music that expands inventiveness and learning for everybody, paying little mind to their inclination: traditional music. In the examination, 249 understudies were seen during a talk, but in 2 gatherings. One had traditional music playing behind the scenes during the talk, the other didn't. At the point when they tried them in a numerous decision test quickly thereafter, they were amazed to discover that the understudies who learned with old-style music performed much better. 6. 4. Aroma of rosemary improves mental ability. The advantages of fundamental oils on the mind are frequently rehashed, however generally problematic. We're not denying their adequacy in causing you to feel better, which can consequently positively affect your mind. Regarding substantial advantages, however, none of the fundamental oils are logically demonstrated to do anything. All things considered, aside from rosemary. Probably in an offer to unequivocally refute the fundamental oils swarm, analysts put a lot of individuals in a room loaded up with rosemary fragrance and requested them to do an assortment from deduction and visual data handling tests. Shockingly, and perhaps alarm, there was a positive improvement in the members' exhibition as the researchers expanded the measurements of the aroma. 7. They're not exactly sure why that is, but rather it proposes that rosemary decidedly affects the mind's psychological capacities, so stock up on it before your next test. 3. Chew gum to reduce anxiety and depression. Aside from the roughly 6 seconds that the flavor endures, biting gum doesn't appear to have any advantages whatsoever. Regardless of it not plainly falling into any class of things, like food or exercises, numerous individuals love to bite gum, and it stays a generally effective industry. What gives? As indicated by science, there are some reasonable advantages to biting gum, and it is one of only a handful few demonstrated ways you can drive your mind to act that we are aware of. In an examination, they found that biting gum altogether brings down uneasiness levels. The impacts were generally articulated following 14 days of standard gum biting. That likely clarifies why that person who was continually biting gum in secondary school was so chill. However, it doesn't stop there. Gum chewers likewise charge better at engaging gloom and exhaustion than others. 8. 2. Study in spaced intervals to retain more information. Understudies have been attempting to track down the ideal method to concentrate on admission better at tests since days of yore, but absent a lot of accomplishment. Indeed, even researchers aren't actually certain about how recollections are framed in the cerebrum, and sorting it out has been a long-standing pursuit in the neuroscience world. One frequently rehashed strategy that is thought to work before tests is the savage power technique. Just consistently read the topic, and you will undoubtedly recollect it eventually. We trust it since everybody says it works. However, as indicated by some exploration, it really causes you to recall less data than if you'd concentrated in spans. Known as divided reiteration, this technique expects you to take breaks in the learning interaction rather than over and again attempting to pack data in. Studies demonstrate that the last is really inconvenient to holding data, as the mind needs an ideal opportunity to make the associations needed to frame an enduring memory. 9. One smiling can trick your brain into thinking you're happy. Individuals grin since they're cheerful, as the greater part of us is more likely than not sorted out at this point. It's a simply friendly component of the body, and its lone object is to tell others that you're making some acceptable memories, regardless of whether it's phony. What the vast majority may not know, nonetheless, is that grinning isn't only a reaction to being glad. It works the opposite way around, as well. As numerous investigations have discovered, recently the demonstration of grinning discharges a lot of feel-great synthetic compounds, like dopamine and serotonin, in your cerebrum. It likewise lessens pressure and tension in high-pressure circumstances, brings down circulatory strain, and may even assist you live more. All the more curiously, it doesn't make any difference on the off chance that you don't want to grin by any stretch of the imagination. The simple demonstration of grinning makes the cerebrum do those things, paying little heed to some other factors. 10.